The Owl House, Episode 9. Something ventured, someone framed. This, I'll admit, the first time, seeing this episode again for the second time, I kind of forgot how important to the story it was, to the overarching story of the season, because I guess just the main plot of this story, you can argue it's filler, but it's really the subplot that, pushes this episode, because well, I mean, let's so so the episode is it's a Gus episode, which Gus is this he's a pretty solid character, he has his moments, but they acknowledge. I mean, it's acknowledged. He does say it in this episode. He's younger than most of the students at Hexside. He's really smart when it comes to studying, and he's able to move up. But other than that, he's not exactly a popular kid. So he kind of feels like you know he needs everything that he gets that makes him somewhat popular. He needs to hold on to. And in this episode, his position as the president of the Human Appreciation Club. That's in jeopardy because this is new kid named Methalmule. Methalmule. I just call him Matt because it's easy to call him that. He kind of tries to one up Gus in the club by trying to take over his position, and honestly, it's pretty much just a parody of what you would imagine. It's just higher up, but it's the fact that it's a club with only four people. Like it's Gus and these three students. One of them has a giant eyeball, and it's just kind of like a cyclops. The other one is a unicorn, I think. I mean, it's a normal body with a unicorn head, and then the third one is just a normal girl. So, and I like how Gus does have objects from the human world, but he doesn't name them correctly. He has a cheese grater, but he calls it a nail clipper. He has a empty bag of chips that he calls a whoopee cushion. He has an umbrella hat that he calls a food bowl because he has it upside down. And then he has a Rubik's Cube that he calls a weapon with a question mark. I like that. And then he has a paperclip that he calls a paper clorp. Surprised they didn't have Luce verify those, because when Matt comes in, he has his own objects that he claims are from the human world, and big freaking lie. I mean, he has a rock with a fake screen that he calls a cell phone. He has an egg with a fake skull on it that he calls a human skull, and then he has mud and leaves crafted, molded into the shape of a sneaker. So, um, so Gus basically, Gus kind of Matt tries to one up Gus, and then he even decides why not. Maybe I should be president. You don't seem like you're the type of kid who should be in charge of all of this. And so Gus feels, he feels like his spot's in jeopardy. So he's like, well, what if I told you I can bring in a real human? And of course, he's obviously referring to Luce. But there's the main problem. Luce is still banned from Hexside, which the stuff that happened in episode 3, and so the other part is like Ida, Luce is like I would love to go, but the ban, and I don't want to get in trouble again. And then Ida then kind of tells Luce, no, you don't need that school. You don't need those. You don't need those types of school students and lessons and stuff. And of course, Luce gets frustrated about that because we're 9 episodes in. She learned one spell, and you can argue it was a spell that she learned by accident. So she kind of snaps at Ida, and so Ida goes outside, because she doesn't say in frustration. She just says, "All right, I'm gonna head outside," and so obviously Gus still feeling worried that he's gonna lose his spot. Lies to Luce about the ban. He says that it's lifted and that she can come with him to the school. And so of course Luce gets excited and tells him that she'll be there. And so she's so excited, and then yeah. So obviously that's kind of the moral of the episode, is lying and stuff, and being afraid of losing something that you have because you don't know if you can have that down the line, or if it's gonna socially and stuff. So So obviously Willow doesn't approve of it. She's like, you lied to her. Like that's the main thing about it. Even though Gus like, don't worry, I got this. I got it totally covered. He's so like to start he took down all the wanted posters in the school and put them all in a bag, and then he also gave Luce a cowl for her to wear so that way she can cover her ears. And he spins it to be like, oh, it's just a big reveal, and it's like, and then Luce is like, you set the you do the razzle and I do the dazzle, and they're like, what? So yeah, and then while that's going on, Ida pretty much talks and thinks it over and she's like, yeah, I probably should be put Luce in that school because she like looks at she's thinking about like I'm a good teacher, right? And then Hootie's like, oh yeah, you trained me, and then that's pretty much the moment where yeah, Ida's like, okay, yeah, Luce was right, I gotta get her in school. So so Ida goes to Hexside and like tells Bump, hey, I want to enroll Luce into Hexside, and Bump actually agrees. He's like, I believe we can all learn something with such a formal exchange student, you know. So, but of course he doesn't do it so easily. I'll let you enroll her, but you still have to pay for for all of the for all of the oh my god, like he plops down her permanent record and it's just like a huge stack, and he even makes a joke, huh, I thought it would be bigger. So she has to fix all the things she did wrong. There's from like simple things like graffiti to pranks in the bathroom to apparently also stealing somebody's teeth. Yeah, that's a weird one. Also there's I don't know, I forget if we maybe they I forget if it popped up in the previous 8 episodes, but this episode we get her last name, and her last name is Clawthorn. Just wanted to say that. So Ida Clawthorn, Edelyn Clawthorn, Clawthorn sisters. So anyway, while Ida is doing that, Luce and Gus are going through the school, and Luce obviously thinking that the ban is lifted. You know, she's really excited to check things around. She kind of wants it. She's like, "Can you give me a tour? Can we see things?" And Gus like, we're kind of on a tight schedule. You know, trying to distract her, make sure that she doesn't do it. But one thing I do like is oh wait, no wait, no. But yeah, actually, yeah. So while they're exploring the school, there's these guards all about, and they kind of have like golem like faces, but they're upside down. It's like, so picture Golem's face, turn it upside down, take away the jaw, and take away the eyes because they have like stitched up eyes, and it's like they smell out trouble, as Gus put it. And so they were put in after Luce came in the school in episode 3, you know, kind of like, so like, you know, as a security system, as precaution and stuff. So yeah. And so while they're moving around, Gus and Luce run into Matt, who of course Matt is still trying to one up Gus, you know, trying to bully him and stuff. And then well, actually Gus is like, Luce, dazzle, like, so then Luce takes off the hood, shows that she's a human. Matt freaks out and he's like, oh crap, I can't. And then, but of course, since they bumped into him, Gus accidentally dropped the wanted posters. And even though he thought he quickly grabbed them all and scooped them all up so that Luce didn't see, he left one up lying on the ground, which of course Matt finds, and of course he then concocts this scheme to get out of everything. Yeah. So yeah, so then they go to the club, and of course Luce reveals that she's a human. Love the way she comes in. Like, Gus opens the door, Luce literally moonwalks in with the hood on, spins, nearly trips, like that little touch, then takes the hood off, and she's like, hi. So it's pretty funny. So Ida. Meanwhile, Ida is, she's still doing things. She's still cleaning up around the school. I'm surprised it took her one day to clean up the school. I thought it would take her at least a month, maybe even a couple months to clean up the school. Just seeing that permanent record. But she even bumps like, give up yet? And so Ida doesn't give up. She's like, she's looking around. She sees some of the girls. She sees some of the girls bonding in the cafeteria, and Luce is like, wow, they're pathetic. Luce would love it. So then she keeps going, and we don't really see much of what she does besides like one or two things. One of them is graffiti, which is, I like it because it's not just normal graffiti on the lockers. It moves. So obviously that was kind of what Ida did. So like she tries to wipe it off, but then it moves, and then she continues to try and follow it, and then eventually, I love this, all the graffiti that's on the lockers merge and spin together, and then create one graffiti, and it says "Mother No." And the first time I'm like, okay, but this time around I was like, oh wait, she made that, so of course they're like, Mother No. I really like coming back and watching these episodes just to get laugh and see things I didn't notice. But yeah, so back at the club, right before Luce inspects Matt's items, Matt confesses saying that they're fake and that he was doing it so he can fit in, and Gus, everyone pretty much buys it. But Matt's obviously playing it to his will, and all the members of the club leave except Gus, Luce, and Matt. They stay. Matt then reveals that he turned Luce into the guards, who then take her. And of course, Luce is like, "Wait a minute! I thought the ban was lifted, Gus. What's up with that?" And then she gets pulled away, and of course, Gus is freaking out, and then he's like, "What is your?" And he goes to Matt. He's like, "What's your deal?" And Matt's like, "I like power and drama, and I got one of those right now." And I'm like, you could have had both. I feel like, I mean, because if he turned Luce in. If he turned Luce in with the rest of the club, maybe he could have spun that like, "Oh yeah, Gus, you lie. Oh yeah, Gus, the ban was listed. Was that so?" Like, he's like, I thought he was gonna be like, I lie here and there, but I usually am honest. Unlike you, Gus. I thought he would do that, but he didn't. So then Matt basically is like, "What you gonna do now, Gus?" Like, because her friend is going to detention. And we soon find out what that is, because Gus then gets himself and Matt in detention by he pulls the screaming bell. He pulls the screaming bell's tongue, and it spits out water, and like, so kind of like the fire. It's kind of like the equivalent of pulling the fire alarm. So, they get detention, and they go into the detention room, which is, I'm just gonna say it, it's pretty much the Sarlacc pit. and Luce is in there, she's freaking out, she's like, "How is this detention? This is more like a death sentence." And so unlike the Sarlacc pit where you fall in and you're slowly digested for 1,000 years, if you fall in or get grabbed and pulled in, you get put in this blue cocoon that like basically hypnotizes you and brainwashes you to basically become a good student. Like, it literally repeats it back, like, "You will be a good student. I will be a good student." It's creepy. So obviously, Matt is like, well, Gus is like, "Oh, I don't know what to do. I've never been in detention." And Matt's like, "Well, welcome to my world, boy." So like Matt is like, "If you want to get out of here, you gotta listen to me and do exactly what I say." And then he gets grabbed and pulled into the pit, and he even's like, "Oh wow, that was fast." So he gets in the cocoon, and so it's just Gus and Luce now, and of course that's when Luce is like, "You lied to me about the ban." And Gus, like I said earlier, Gus like confesses, like, he was scared that he would lose his spot. That he's younger than everyone, so he doesn't have a lot of friends, and he was just worried that he would lose the one thing that he thought he was getting. And of course Luce forgives him, and they make up, and then Gus is then like, "Okay, well, I gotta make this right." So like, he goes down to get Matt out, and I like how they get out, because like there's all these little like snake-like things trying to get them, and so after they get Matt out of his cocoon, like Gus then creates duplicates of all of them. So like, and I like that because it's a nice distraction. Everyone's running around, and so they climb out and they break out. Me and Oh yeah, Will also helps. Oh, Will helps by she goes to the front. She goes to the main door of detention and unlocks it basically. So then Gus loose busted rammed down the door with this giant bone that for some reason is there. I don't know. But of course, it's right when Ida and Principal Bump are walking by, and of course it's Bump saying, "Oh well, I'm impressed. You did all the things that you did, and yeah, I'll enroll your student in a Hexside." And then breaks the door gets busted down. Bump sees loose, and of course he snaps, and he's like, okay, you know what? No, you're not being enrolled. And then Gus steps in. Gus steps in and sticks up for loose, and even Bumps like, would you be willing to take her punishment? And Gus is like, yeah, but then I thought for a second Bump was actually going to like kick Gus out of school, but he's like, he looks and he's like, okay, well, I would throw you. I like that. He's like, I would throw you in detention, but that seems to be out of order right now. So he revokes him of his spot in the Human Appreciation Club. Um, but Gus, of course, isn't. He's not that. He doesn't feel bad about that because he's like, I put this on. I got this. This was on me and all. And then, but yeah, Bump tells Luce that she's being enrolled in the Hexside, and of course, Ida's even like, knock him dead. You don't have to. And then she also gives her a little talk. She's like, I know you don't believe in that one track crap. So do whatever you do. Like, learn what you want to learn here, but in the end, you know what you want to do. So it's a touching thing, and yeah, it's pretty fun. And even I thought this would have been more funny if this was the actually the end credits, but they have this little like this short compilation of Luce or of Ida looking through her permanent record, and you see all the different things she did. So like there was let's see, she caused ghost in the locker room, she unleashed a army of abominations in the cafeteria, she caused these like centipede-like things to devour a classroom. She decimated the sports field with goo and leaving Bump there as well. And even like so, and they pan out and it's Ida going through it, and she's just smiling like at all the memories. And Luce is there sitting next to her, and she's like, "Wow, Bump was not exaggerating. You were a terrible student." And the episode ends there. Speaking of which, I know I've been holding off my talk about the end credits mainly because I was hoping I can save it for the season finale, because I'll say this, like, the outro, it's a really good outro. I love the music is good, the way the visuals are good, because it's loose walking through, skipping through all the parts of the Boiling Isles, and in pretty much every place she goes matches with the tone of the song, of the tone of the song. Like there's one point where she's in the dark forest and it just goes down to like a little like do 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 do, like this little haunting creepy music, like, and it hits the right notes, especially with how the episodes are. Like, especially when I saw the season finale and then the outro came out, I did get teary eyed. I was like, wow, that's because now that just gets me feeling. It just gets me wondering how the series finale will go with the show if they keep with this outro. Because I feel like when the series finale rolls and they have this outro, it's just everyone's gonna be bawling at it. It's gonna be like they've been watching the same outro the entire series, and then of course, and it's in the finale when they realize, wow, this is a really touching outro, and it's yeah. Okay, so that was episode 9. That was something ventured, someone framed. All right. Well, with that, we're nearly halfway through. I mean, we still once I do the next episode, then we'll be officially halfway through this. So Hope to see you guys then.